Meanwhile, Saul, still breathing threats and murder against the disciples of the Lord, went to the high priest and asked him for letters to the synagogues at Damascus, so that if he found any who belonged to the way, men or women, he might bring them bound to Jerusalem. Now as he was going along and approaching Damascus, suddenly a light from heaven flashed around him. He fell to the ground and heard a voice saying to him, "Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me?" He asked, "Who are you, Lord?" The reply came, "I am Jesus, whom you are persecuting. But get up and enter the city, and you will be told what you are to do." The men who were traveling with him stood speechless because they heard the voice but saw no one. Saul got up from the ground, and though his eyes were open, he could see nothing. So they led him by the hand and brought him into Damascus. For 3 days he was without sight, and neither ate nor drank. Now there was a disciple in Damascus named Ananias. The Lord said to him in a vision, "Ananias." He answered, "Here I am, Lord." And the Lord said to him, "Get up and go to the street called Straight, and at the house of Judas look for a man of Tarsus named Saul." At that moment he was praying. Well, it's really interesting when you read the story and hear the words of the scripture about Saul, as we know him, Paul. And you can imagine that he was in this frenzy. He was focused on what his mission was. He was going to make sure he did away with those people who were following Jesus. And so he and some other friends were making their way to Damascus. They were going to take care of that problem once and for all. And all of a sudden, this blinding light just drops him to the ground, and he begins to hear this voice talking to him. We know the rest of the story. After a while, whether it was a couple of days, a couple of months, a couple of years, Saul wound up as Paul with an incredible story to tell about his encounter with Christ. What's your story? You know, we are going to be looking at our lives over the next few weeks together. We're going to be talking about how do we unbind our hearts. We each have a story to tell, and how we share that story. We'll say everything about our faith, and we'll touch someone else's heart. We've talked about this in so many different aspects, and one of the things that we have found is that people think, well, I just don't have a story like Paul to tell. You know, I can't talk about a dramatic conversion that changed me from a really awful person to a really great person, going from that sinner to saint as if we were overnight. But what we are going to do for the next few weeks is we're going to learn, first of all, what is our story? How did we come to this thing called faith? And then as we do that, we are going to be learning how to tell our story. Now, this isn't a study on how to tell your story as much as it is a story between you and Christ. So when you began this study this week, as you engage in this book, this 6-week study, Unbinding Your Heart, we are going to be learning about telling our story. We've forgotten that. We are a visual culture. We have forgotten the fine art of how to orally tell our story. And each week you're going to be engaging in your own personal prayer time. I will be sharing with you one of those exercises each week as we go through our studies. And so today I just want to leave you with this thought. What is your story? Think about when you first heard about this faith. When did it first capture your heart? And as we think about that together, we are going to be engaging in this reality and understanding. Christ loves us. He loves it when we try to mature in our relationship with Him. Our prayers help us. Our prayers help others more than we will know. Ready to move into this faith adventure? All right, let's go.